Hey everyone, and welcome to week 5. We are over the halfway point for this course and rounding the corner as we get ready to finish. So here are a couple announcements as we look forward to this week. So first and foremost, thanks for your patience last week as I was out of the office, I was out of town, and for your patience getting back your final paper outlines. I know it's been a little while since you've submitted those, but finally your grades have been uploaded, and in the initial submission portion of that assignment, you can find where I've re-uploaded your paper with comments. Please read these comments this week. Sometimes students want to wait until the week of the paper being due to look at the comments, and then they'll email me and be like, oh, I don't know what this means, or can you help me with this? The last week of this course is absolutely bananas for me, and so waiting until the very last week when your paper is due is going to be a difficult time to get my help. And I would love to help you write your final papers, but do this in advance. So look through these comments this week and let me know if you have any questions. I would love to talk to you about them. I would love to be able to share more ideas or resources if you need the help. And I can do this just via email, or if you'd like to set up office hours, I'm happy to chat with you over Teams. So, final paper outlines. They're uploaded and you guys did great. Second off, I know that for the final paper uploads, hold on one second. Okay, we're fine. Oh, don't mind the monster moving in the corner. That's my cat. Final paper outline grades, that initially the time was set incorrectly for that assignment, and so it's been transitioned to the correct time, so no one's paper was submitted late. So that should all reflect as well in your grades. If you have any questions about final paper outlines in general or the final paper, feel free to send me an email. Happy to chat. Okay, let's move on to the midterm exams. I am in the throes of grading this morning, and so I'll have the midterm grades posted hopefully by the end of today, if not early tomorrow. And if you have any questions about your midterm exams, let me know. Happy to chat. Okay, so this week is actually pretty straightforward. We're moving from the Old Testament that we've been in for the first 4 weeks, and we're moving now into the New Testament. In a chronological or historical kind of outline, there is about 400 years that separates the Old Testament from the New Testament in which the characters actually lived. So when we ended the Old Testament, we were talking about the latter prophets, and the latter prophets were talking a lot about God's judgment, His mercy, His wrath, what is to come in the future. And as we step into the New Testament, we're going to shift into the Gospels, where we learn about God coming in a human form named Jesus. And so the Gospels center around Jesus's life, and then later, as the New Testament continues, we start to see people writing letters to the early churches. And how do we best live like Jesus? What does it mean that we consider ourselves followers of Jesus? And how does that look in our day-to-day lives? Now, in the early church, there were loads of conflicts that always were happening. And so writers often focus on these conflicts that were happening within the churches. So if I had to summarize the New Testament kind of in 2 different ways, the first is the Gospels. The Gospels center around Jesus' life and his ministry and what he did and said while he was here on earth. And the second part are letters that were written to different churches, different groups of believers, to help address the conflict that they were experiencing in their early church. So this week we're going to be jumping into the Gospels and talking about Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. There are lots of videos for us to be watching this week because not only are we jumping into a New Testament and focusing on the Gospels, but we're also talking about a different style of writing. And so with a different style of writing, we need to kind of recenter our brains and what we can expect and how we should be reading these types of letters. So I would encourage you as well to just to be taking notes. How can the Gospels influence your final paper? And remember that your outline was really to get your thoughts rolling on your final paper. It's not set in stone. So I would really encourage you to just keep your eyes wide open for examples that could be helpful for your final paper and incorporate those as well. Because remember, this is a Bible paper, so you do want to include both testaments, unless for some reason your paper is specifically looking at something that you've already addressed as like, I'm just going to look at the Old Testament for this reason, or I'm just looking at X, Y, or Z. So again, not to harp on the final paper outlines more, but they're really helpful. And so I'm hoping that as you continue with the next 2 weeks of this course before the final paper is due, that you can just continue to have an open mind as to what you could be incorporating into your paper to help strengthen and give you the best paper possible. So this week is week 5. Next week is week 6, and week 6 is incredibly light. I've intentionally designed this course so that week 6 we kind of have a slower momentum intentionally for you to work on your paper. And so if you don't work on your paper week 6, come week 7, it is going to be an uphill battle, because week 7 is full out, nonstop. We've got a ton of work to do as we close out the class. So that's what we can look forward to for the rest of this quad. One last quick announcement. I am posting a midpoint course evaluation. This is something that I've designed completely, and it is completely anonymous. Sometimes our North Park evaluations, while as great as they sometimes aren't super helpful for us as professors. We kind of want to know about what you think about the resources, the textbook, the videos, what's really helpful for you and what's really not helpful for you. I take into consideration these midpoint evaluations consistently every single quad. I've taught this course more times than I can count, and every time I get to the midpoint evaluation, something changes in the course for the next quad. So although this might not be directly beneficial for you, there are things that I've been trying out differently because of what the summer quad has recommended. So all this to say, they're super helpful for me. And if you have some time, they take maybe 3 to 5 minutes tops, and I'll offer some extra credit for you that can go towards your midterm. So that will be coming out today as well. So if you have some extra time that you can do a midpoint evaluation, awesome. That would be so helpful for me. All right, guys, I'm going to go because I already said this was going to be a short announcement, and it is not a short announcement, but it's so great to virtually see you. And if there's anything I can do throughout the week, please, please, please let me know. All right, guys, have a great week. Cheers.